Welcome back to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, we potter around the garden and try and catch up for the spring-summer season. And I take a bit of a trip and end up in the emergency department. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I am the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good afternoon. Well, it is Saturday the 4th of October and it's pouring, absolutely pouring out there. I had plans to go to a working bee this morning, but yeah, didn't happen. So I have spent this morning just pottering around, but this afternoon I thought I would try and catch up with some of the potting on that I need to do, and I've got quite a lot of it to do. So planting the seeds, whether they be in trays outside or just sitting in the ambient room temperature inside or on the heated mats, eventually they'll all need potting on because you usually start them off 99% of the time in small pots to conserve the amount of space that you're using. So you need to pot them up when they get to a certain height before they get too long and leggy and then just become useless after. Now when you're using the trays that I've been using, or any trays, and you're planting more than one type of seed, and it can also happen if you're using one type of seed, some seeds will bolt ahead and others won't. So what I had done the other day, well, over a week ago now, I had planted up one of these small little 12 cell trays that I've got, and I had things like sunflower in there, and I think I put some tomato seeds, my late tomato seeds in there. So they've been going really well, but they have germinated at different speeds, and the sunflowers of course had taken off, and I needed to get them off the heated mats because as long as they stayed on the heated mats they'd bolt even further. So just before I started recording, I took the sunflowers out of the pot even though they hadn't really got to the true leaf phase. I still just had the seed leaves there, but because they were growing really long and leggy, and they were long and leggy because I've planted them really deep. So yeah, I've got 5 of those and they are for my garden, so that I'm planning on planting them in amongst the pumpkins. So I was going to plant a whole lot of sunflowers with stakes in amongst the pumpkins, grow the pumpkins around the base of them and have the sunflowers peeking out the top. So this is one particular sunflower called Ruby Eclipse, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing what that looks like. I've got some other ones I've just planted in the last couple of days, so yeah, these will stay inside. I've got 5 of them now, but I've also got numerous other things I need to pot on. I have been doing it steadily out in the garage using my potting station there. These need potting up. These are marigold honeycombs, and I've just finished potting up, not yesterday, the day before, marigold Eskimos. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing what they look like. So I'll do these today and I'll just pop them in a 6 cell. So they'll keep me busy. I've also been succession sowing my lettuce. Yes, I know it's a lot of lettuce, but it's, as I said, for projects and things like that. Now, the thing with the lettuce is I find that even though it's being done at ambient room temperature, because it doesn't like being on the heated mats, it's too warm on there for them, they do germinate at different rates. So the ones that have done really well are the Butter Crunch and the Drunken Woman, whereas the red gem and the little gems are a bit behind. Right, so the marigolds are all potted up and ready to grow a bit more, and I've got another tray that I'm going to plant a few more seedlings. I've got a couple of trays there that I'll do that and just keep them going for the next wee bit. I've also got some extra 6 cells here ready, because I'm going to start potting on some of this lettuce, because otherwise it's just going to get long and leggy. And then I'll let the other gem ones grow a bit further. And I've also got a few petunia here that need potting on. I love petunia, and I've never had a lot of luck in actually growing them from seed. So this year is probably the best year I've had. Certainly helped with the heated pads. So I'll get these done, and I may actually plant a few more seeds. I've got a couple of these trays sitting in water soaking, ready to plant on. So yeah, great way of dealing with a wet day. Tomorrow's meant to be much the same, so I'll probably just keep on doing this over the next few days. The week weather forecast is looking good, so I'm hoping I'll be able to get out and do a few things in the garden. I need to get back to the back garden and do a bit more bed prep and removing a few things that have bolted. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave that for me today, and I'll catch up with you in the next few days. Well, it is Wednesday the 8th of October, and the month is ticking away fast, and I don't seem to be getting far fast. So I'm back at last week's scene of the potatoes, because I really need to get the rest of my spuds in today. And it's around about 2:30, somewhere around about that, so it's not early in the day. I've been busy and I just need to get on with things now. But I've just checked last week's spuds, and some of them are already starting to come up, so I can see about that much green on 2 of them. I'll have a quick look in a sec. And so I'm just going to quickly cover them first, and then I'm going to start working on the other pots along here with my earlies. I've also brought out my main crop, so I'm going to see how far I get with them today. I need to get the yams in this week, preferably this week. Maybe it'll have to be next week, but yep. And I'm still potting up tomatoes for my 2 different projects at the moment. I spent a good time yesterday potting up tomatoes and watering, so as I said, busy time of year for me. So I'm going to start heading out and doing all that sort of stuff and bring you along with me as I go. So as you can see, one of the spuds is popped out, and at the far side where the label is, the other one's just cracking the dirt there too, and the other pot has got similar amount. So I might just give them a wee quick layer of extra dirt now, so I'm not having to remember them later this week. So we had a lot of rain over the weekend. Everything's saturated, the front lawn's saturated again, but you can see how much rain there was because I forgot to tip the wheelbarrow. And this big deep old one, which has got a flat tyre at the moment, is fairly full, much to my, I was pretty surprised how deep it was. It's probably a good 30 centimetres worth in there. So everything's pretty damn soggy, including all the dirt that I've just dipped out into the potato bed. So yuck. Anyway, get on with it. Okay, so I have done it. And I'm going to go inside in a minute because the weather, while it is nor'west, it's not warm and it's not cold, but it is getting blustery and unpleasant. But I stuck it out long enough to get my spuds in. So I've got 8 pots, 30 litre pots of the earlies, which is a combination of Swift and Jersey Benny. And they've all got 3 in each pot except for one pot, which I only had 2 spuds left. And then I've got 6 main crops with 3 in each pot, and they're agria. So all done, I'll show you in a sec. All topped up, fertilised, everything, and a very, very light water on some of them because some of the pots, the stuff that I was putting on top of them, the mix, was saturated because we've had so much rain in the last, over the weekend. It just wasn't funny. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. Got that done. I'll do the yams tomorrow. The next couple of days, Thursday, Friday, meant to be really nice. Weekends meant to be really nice. I had planned to head out to a garden and have a look at it with you, but I won't be doing that tomorrow or the next day, but I'm going to try and do it on the weekend. Reason being, I want someone to come with me because it's quite hilly, and it's just nice to have that security when you're a bit wobbly at times. So yeah, I'm going to get hubby to come with me for that. But yeah, pretty damn pleased. But yeah, it's getting pretty It's one of those Canterbury nor'wests that are blustery but not that pleasant because it's not that warm either. So I'll show you the spuds and then I'm going to bolt inside. So these are the main crop, so that's the agria. So yep, pretty pleased with them, and I'll just keep topping them up over the next couple of weeks as they start popping their heads up. So that's good. And these are the earlies, so combination of Swift and Jersey Benny. So yep, all good there. So hopefully you'll have spuds by Christmas Day, which will be very nice. Just as long as that wind doesn't take the tops off them, which, you know, is always the risk around here. So I will catch you tomorrow. Good morning. It is Thursday the 9th of October and it's about 10:30 in the morning, and it's been a glorious morning so far. I've been out and about catching up on a few of the daily chores that I need to do around the plants and things like that. So some stuff needs to be watered every couple of days, so I try and cycle it around, do one lot one day, another lot another day. But the indoor stuff on the heat pads, that needs to be done daily, and I need to check the heat pads every day. I'm still having that little problem with them where they seem to just turn themselves off, and they did that last night, so not quite sure what that's about. And this morning they don't seem to really want to turn on, and I'm wondering if it's because while it does actually say on the thing keep out of direct sunlight, they're actually in direct sunlight at the moment. But yeah, I'll check them again just before lunch when they'll have gone out of the light. So currently I'm in the wee area that I've set up for my potting stuff out in the garage. Yes, it is messy. I'm sorry, at this time of year it's just full on. I did try and give it a tidy up the other day, but didn't stay tidy long. So one thing I'm doing this morning is doing deep watering for the plants on the racks out by the side of the garage, and I'm just zipping in and out doing that. And I'm also potting up some self-seeded stuff. So I've got a couple of pots just on the floor that you can't see. One's full of different parsleys that's self-seeded, and the other one is full of celery that's self-seeded. So I'll pot them all up and do what I need to do with them. I've actually got another full pot of celery that's self-seeded, but I'll probably just thin that a wee bit because once I've potted this other one on, I'll have heaps. But I'll probably just thin the other one so that it just becomes my celery for this year. I usually grow my celery in pots and keep down where the raspberries are currently, but I think that this year I might move them further around to a slightly cooler spot, just because they don't like hot feet. They like cool roots, because celery is actually a swamp plant. So it likes lots and lots of water, and it's actually a very hungry feeder too. So you need to, if it's in a pot, give it a good feed with something like sheep pellets, which is slow release about once a month, and you'll get a good amount of celery from there. I usually drown in celery. I'm always giving it away. What else is going on today? So yeah, I'm just finding that at this time of year, and it's the same every year, doesn't matter where I am and what I'm doing, that I'm just busy. There's always more to do than I've got time to do it, and just wanting to pace myself more and behave myself more. Sometimes I just now have to say, right, I can't do that, and let it go. But anyway, the weather is grand. It's meant to be gorgeous today. It's meant to be gorgeous all weekend. I've got a working bee on Saturday morning, and then I'm hoping to go out Saturday afternoon. But the days that I'm home, I'm going to be out in the garden, and I'll be taking you with me. So the parsley that I'm potting up today is actually self-seeded parsley. Now parsley as a plant will last 2 seasons or 2 years, and then you need to replace it. But if you let your old parsley go to seed, it'll seed into the pot, and then you can get self-seeded plants. You just got to be a bit patient. And so what I try and do, so I've got a continuing supply of parsley, is usually got a couple of pots of parsley going. One that is 1 year old and one that is 2 years old, and that is going to seed this summer, at the end of the summer over autumn, and then should come away as seeds in the pot once I clear the main plant for the spring. And then I've got my new plants ready and going, and that's what this is. This is just good old-fashioned curly parsley. I just need to firm that in a bit more and give it a wee drink. And I've just literally dug it out, roots all in as much dirt as possible from the big pot that it was in. I've just got them in what they call shrub tubs, which are, I think, 13 litre pots. I could be wrong, but they're the ones that I tend to grow my tomatoes into. Last year I grew them in the bigger pots and didn't really have a great year with them. Going back to my little shrub tubs, and just because I know I can control the watering better. So, but parsley this morning, and then celery. Right, so it's now Thursday afternoon, about 1:30. I've spent the morning mucking around, doing watering and potting up the celery, etc. I got about halfway through that and I thought, I've probably got enough there. So I've left the rest for now, and I think I'll go back to it later. So I've come out to enjoy the beautiful sun and get some vitamin D, and what I'm going to do at the moment is just keep trying to catch up with myself. So around here I have cleaned out a few times now, but the self-seeded poppies just keep on popping up, and I just need to clear them around the rows here, which you may not be able to see, but need to do that. And looks like I need to give the rose a bit of a wash off too, because it's covered in aphids again. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get over here and do anything today because of the incredibly wet weather that we had over the weekend. The front lawn had become absolutely squishy again, but the fine weather that we've had earlier this week seems to be helping. I mean, yesterday I was squishing, but today I don't seem to be, so that's good. So I'm just going to work my way along here and do a bit of weeding, and I've got some early annuals that I'm going to pop in as well, that are they're just sitting in some water at the moment, getting ready to be popped in. But look at my lovely poppies, not poppies, tulips, silly me, tulips. And I'll just pull this one slightly aside and you'll be able to see these gorgeous ones. I've got some stills, so I'll pop them up beside it as well. But yeah, and I don't know if the camera can pick these ones up, but I've got some little yellow ones here as well. So I've never really had a lot of time for bulbs and things like that. I love them, but the time of year that you need to put them in, something's always, it's just not good for me time. Yeah, but last year, last autumn, I should say, because it was only in March, April, I did, and I had a few spare dollars, and I bought myself a whole lot of bulbs and things like that, and I'm really pleased I did. So they're all popping up, and hopefully I'll be able to get a few more this coming bulb season as well, and just keep planting this area up so that every spring I have a lovely show of bulbs. One crazy thing though that I've noticed, and it's not on these ones but definitely on the ones that I've got in a box that I'd made for, like a container box sort of thing, and I planted about half dozen bulbs in there of tulips. They've got aphids on. I didn't know that tulips got aphids, but they're really weird places too, like halfway up a petal and something like that. But the buggly wugglies seem to be doing double time at the moment, and I've seen yet another white butterfly. They're way too early for those little buggers to be out. So anyway, I shall keep on moving on. of the things that makes weeding easier is good tools, and one of the best tools that I've ever got is and I'll probably mispronounce this, Nawashki or Nawashki. It's a Japanese hand tool with a blade, sort of like a hoe, and it comes in left and right, so if you're left or right-handed. I can't remember, I think it was a friend who was using one of them, and I looked at it, and then someone else online suggested it because I was having a lot of difficulties with digging and things like that, and this has been the best thing since sliced bread. Now, I do have to make a confession. I am probably in the bad category of looking after my tools. I often forget where I've put them, and they often get left outside, so they don't get the best of TLC. This one needs a damn good clean up of the blade, a bit of a scrub up and a bit of a scrape down because it's getting a bit rusty, and I have got some linseed to do the handle of this, and my reasonably sized fork that I use often for the compost. So yeah, I am not the best with my tools, I will admit it, but yeah, we've all got to have our bad things, and looking after my tools is one of them. Now, while I'm clearing a lot of these self-seeded poppies, etc., I will actually put in little patches of poppies. I've got heaps of self-saved seeds for them, and yes, I know I've got self-sown ones, but they're not where I want. I need to be mindful this year, because I wasn't as mindful as I should have been, about keeping the roses that I planted 18 months ago clear of things like that, because they just smother them, and that's why the roses didn't really do well and establish well last year. So I'll do that, and also need to be mindful of some of my more my other perennials. So I've got a lavender here and a herb there. The lavender also got sort of a bit crowded out and overgrown by the poppies and what have you, and it suffered and got a bit woody and what have you. Now, I gave it a really good haircut, and it is coming back. There's lots of new green soft growth there, so I'm just going to have to be aware of that and just not so as close to things as I often do. I can get a bit carried away and just keep planting for the sake of planting, because I've got the plants to plant. So yeah, I'm just going to have to be a bit better around that this year. So I am going to go and find the hose in a minute, and give the poor old rose a bit of a shower and get rid of those aphids. Poor thing. Yeah, you're probably not going to see me because I'm trying to point at the rose, but I'm not sure what other people do with aphid infestations on their roses at this time of year, but I tend to just put the hose thing that I've got, and this is an ancient one, we've got some newer ones, but this one's particularly good for the centre, and then I literally just find the thing and give them a quick blast off, and try and remove the little buggers. It's something you probably should do more often than I do it, but yeah, I do the best I can for cleaning them up. I must check the roses out the back, because if these ones have got it, I'm sure the ones out the back have got them. They're coming away beautifully, the ones out the back. If I get time this week, we'll go around there. I've got stuff I've got to do. I need to spend a whole day in the back garden. Try and focus my attention on that rather than flitting around, but I do get distracted easily. So I'm just going to keep working away at this. I mean, the only other thing that I know other than spraying is squish therapy, i.e. squishing the little buggers, but that can be messy and can be painful if you actually squish the wrong thing and squish a thorn. But I'm going to keep going at this and see how I go, and then I'm going to move around to another area. here in the front garden, not move completely. Okay, so I've moved very slightly from the box over there, just backwards towards the house, and this is the box with the apricot tree in it, and the catnip and cat mint, and it's got sage in it, and the sage is about to flower. It looks gorgeous already, so I'm really excited to see what the flower looks like. Unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunately, but it's just, you know, one of those things. Cat mint just seeds everywhere, and I've already cleaned this out at least twice this spring, but there's a whole lot more self-seeded cat mint that I need to get out, and it looks like my poor old dianthus has suffered from the bad weather. It probably got bashed or something with the severe winds that we had, especially on Sunday. So yeah, that's a shame. Again, I've got another beautiful tulip and a white one, and the really exciting thing is I've got apricots on the tree. I was a bit worried with the weather we'd had around the time it blossomed that it may not have been able to be pollinated before the bad weather, winds and what have you, blew the blossom off. But just on a rough count, I would say I've roughly got about 12 apricots, which is really exciting because this is it's been in about 18 months, so this is its second summer here. Nothing last year, which I didn't expect. I just wanted it to establish, and if it had actually put something like fruit out, I would have picked them off. Now I'll just have to watch how many apricots I've got, and I may just have to thin them down so I don't stress the plant out too much, seeing it's still only been in there 18 months. But hey, I'm really pleased. That's awesome. So I'm just going to clean out the cat mint. I've got a little bare patch here, which I'll put something there, but I won't put much else in around there at the moment. This dianthus should, I'll just cut it back a wee bit where it's been bashed, and it should take off again. They do. The catnip, which I think might just be in shot, that's the one that the boys trash all the time. It's coming away beautifully again, and I've got a lot of those cuttings that I took when I took the big one out have done okay. A few of the really woody ones didn't take, but the softwood ones did. And I've got here a few annuals or biennials that I've grown myself. This is Sweet William. I love Sweet William. Bit of nostalgia there because my dad always put Sweet William in every year, and his middle name was William, so yeah, bit of a soft spot there with that. And here I've got some dwarf blue cornflower and some Tom Thumb mix, so it's a bit of both. I think there's 4 dwarf and then there's 2 Tom Thumb mix. I won't put them in this border. I'll find somewhere else for them at the moment. The other thing I've got are the poor old marigolds that I planted absolutely way back when I had one of my first vlogs, and these were the ones that survived the slug. They probably should have been planted out ages ago. You can tell they've been stressed because they've flowered too early and things, but I'll pop them in and see how they go. If nothing else, if I can maybe get some seed off them, that would be good, because these are strawberry blonde, and buying the seed you get, like, I think it's about 30 seeds or something like that, 30, 40 in a pack, so there's not a lot, so I'd love to get some. I have grown a few more this spring, so they're not yet ready to go out. So yep, that's what I'm going to do, clear the cat mint, and tidy up, and yeah, go from there. I've had to move. I had to give up on the beds. It could feel the sun burning the back of my neck. Yes, it's only spring, but last thing I need is sunburn. So what I've done, or what I'm going to do, is that there's an area along the side of my greenhouse that I have a whole lot of pots, and I usually keep my mint in 2 of them, and then often have nasturtiums or leftover lobelia and things like that that grow in them. Well, they've got a bit ratty and horrible looking, so I'm going to drag them over into the shade here and I'm going to tidy them up. I've got some nasturtium seeds that I dragged out at lunchtime and popped them in my potting up area, and I'm going to plant them. I think what I'll probably do is plant them in 6 cells to start with and just pop them in the greenhouse and let them quietly germinate there, only because Murphy's Law is if I put them straight into the pot, something will come along and eat them. We've got mice because we live close to open fields and things like that, so we've got lots of little field mice, and so I know in the past that they've come along and eaten my seeds. Last year I planted my sweet pea directly into the ground and one whole side just didn't come up, and I dug around to look to see why. Well, there were no seeds there, so I'm pretty damn sure Mr. Field Mouse or Mrs. Field Mouse had come along and had a wee munch because, free food. So these nasturtiums I've bought, there's some I've got a packet of ones that I saved from nasturtiums that I grew last year out the back in the garden, veggie beds. But I just wanted to put in some different coloured ones, and nasturtiums cross-pollinate beautifully, so I was just sort of wanting to add a bit of variety into the mix from the ones that I had, which were predominantly orange or cream. So yeah, get a bit of different in there, so I'm going to plant them up probably today too, only because I think at some stage it's going to be too warm to even be out this bit, because I can feel the ambient temperature rising. So this is the area I'm going to work on. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess at the moment, and the mint that I had growing in the greenhouse over winter got chucked out when Mr. Slug was hiding in there probably, and it was doing quite well, and then it got thrashed, so I'm just going to give it a really good prune back. Not quite time of year for that. I normally just chuck the whole thing into a wheelbarrow, break it up and pot it on and what have you, but at the moment I'll just give it a good clean up. Right, it's about 4 o'clock and I've got that whole area tidied up. I'll show it to you in a sec, but I'm about poop, so I'm going to have a break. So there you are, all done, everything cleaned out. I did sort of start with trying to selectively tidy it and remove weeds and what have you, but it got to the point that it was just way easier just to pull the whole lot out, except for the mint. But yeah, cleaned out all the old nasturtiums and other flowers, lobelia, etc. All the pots do need a top up though, so I'll do that tomorrow. But as I said, I'm pooped. So I'm gonna head into the garage and just plant up a few pots of nasturtiums and sweet peas and things like that, and then I'm going to crash for the day. So I'll catch you again tomorrow and we'll have a look at finishing up around the front here. I've ended up, as I said, giving up because it got too hot on the back of my neck and I was worried I was going to burn. But tomorrow's meant to be another fine day, but I'll try and get out and do that area before it gets too hot. And then if I get time tomorrow, which I really, really doubt it, because I also need to finish up down the side alley. I've got the raspberry canes, some of them need tying up, and I need to sort out the beds for the yams. I want to go right through them and check for grass grubs and things like that. I do that. I've learnt to do that now, because otherwise I just end up with grass grubs eating yams, which isn't great. But if I can clean them out every year, it does make a big difference. So those probably be my tasks tomorrow. And Saturday, got other things on, but that's not part of this week's vlog anyway, so catch you tomorrow. Okay, it's that time of week for us to have a chat and a coffee, but no coffee today, but early in the day. It's actually Sunday today, and as you can see, things have changed a wee bit. Was in the intro as well, but anyway, I will explain what happened. Friday morning I was out doing my normal chores and things like that, getting things watered, and somewhere along the way I either tripped on my feet, my own feet, my jandals or the hose, probably the hose. It turns up into a knot. And I fell forward with not having the best balance anyway because of my back issue. I fell forward and managed to land face first into the concrete and knock myself out. I don't do things by halves. So Friday was spent in the emergency department at Christchurch Hospital with getting tests and things like that done, but I got cleared and came home. And now I'm just working through this bit, and the family are keeping an eye on me for any concussion problems and things like that. But as the days have gone on, so it's been about 48 hours, the bruising's come out and it's clogging up my eyes and I can hardly see. But what makes it worse is I actually well, it was bad anyway, but I've destroyed my glasses, and the only glasses I've got at the moment are really old ones, and I can't actually sit them properly on anyway. So, yep. So that's that story. It just highlights, firstly, some of the challenges that disabled gardeners have if they've got balance issues like I do. But it also highlights in general some of the dangers out in the garden. Some of the things like trip hazards or using some of the stuff that we do, even things like lime, etc., are dangerous if not actually wearing the appropriate protection gear. So like for lime, it's wearing gloves and putting on glasses, safety glasses, because lime in your eyes can cause significant eye damage. And also things like compost, making sure that you're using compost in a well-ventilated area, or if you're not got a well-ventilated area, or if you have, wear a mask, because it is a vector for Legionnaire's disease, which is quite a nasty respiratory thing. So enough of the safety stuff for today, and sorry about the whole look, this is the best I can do at the moment, and we'll have a review of what we did do this week before I came crashing down. Sorry about the background noise of the lawnmower, hubby's out mowing the lawns. So what did I do this week before I came crashing down was things like potting on. I've still got lots and lots of potting on to do because I've got a significant number of tomatoes that need to come out of their little pots and into their bigger pots, and most of those are for my different projects, and some will go for me as well. There's still lots and lots and lots of watering to do because I've got so many plants and pots that they all need to be given a good drink at least 2 to 3 times a week. So I've been doing that. That takes a significant amount of time. I'm still planting up seeds, so like the cucurbits went in last week, so that's the things like the cucumbers, pumpkins, zucchinis, some melons, all that sort of thing, warm weather plants that germinate usually fairly quickly, that will go out into the garden and or the greenhouse later on, but October's sort of the good month to get them in because you want to get them in early-ish to mid-November, so they need time to get to having more than just their seed leaves. They need to have a good set of true leaves before you put them out. I finally got all my spuds in. I was quite chuffed that I pushed through and got that done, even though it was yucky. It wasn't cold, but it was not pleasant, but I was determined to get them in because I just didn't think in my timetable in my head that I was going to get a chance to do them again in the next week or two, so I had to get them in that day. Just like to thank everyone who's subscribed to date. If you haven't, then please do. It's nice to see those numbers ticking over, and please share my videos, my vlog, with your family and friends who are interested in gardening, and hopefully that they'll subscribe too. I'm aiming for 1,000 subs by my 25th vlog, which is in 4 weeks' time. Well, as it's Sunday morning, I need to get a move on and get this finished. So I'd like to wish you all a happy and safe week, and I will try and be a lot safer than I have been and watch what I'm doing. Sometimes you just get a bit carried away and in the moment and focus on what you're doing and forget that actually you need to be safe doing it as well. So I hope you have a great week pottering in the garden, but from me, it's bye for now until next week's vlog.